Well, uh, this is a baby Italian ooh, it's starting to get too big for it's starting to squeeze the bottom there, dig in. It's an Italian 258, little one that I started from a cutting last year. It's got a Breba. Not real big because the tree's not real vigorous yet, or really it's a beauty, but still little. But I really came out here to get some peppers and start part 2 of the video that I ran out of battery with last, which is, I don't know, maybe I'll name it taking a fig walk or something. I'll let you know. I don't know. But wow. Hey Deb, you want half of this?
I always wash them.
You always wash. You don't have to wash it. It rained like crazy the other day. You know?
Yeah, it looks good though. What is it?
That's Italian 258 Breba.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. July, what is it? The 12th, right? 12th. You sure you don't want to bite of that?
Yeah, I'll have to get the next one, I guess.
Wow. God, I love Italian 258. That Breba was exceptionally good. The only thing that I have ever eaten that compares to a Breba from a Peter's Honey is that Italian 258 or Genovese Nero. This tree here, which I believe is Italian 258, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth. Now look how large these Breba are, but this is an established tree. Okay, and I know that these are identical to my large Italian 258. I have several Italian 258s. It's one of the varieties that I certainly advocate and recommend in any fig gardener's collection. If you can't grow it in the ground, and I can't, then you grow it in a container and give it an early start, and you'll never regret that you have a Genovese Nero or Italian 258 in your collection. Move on real quickly. I'm going to get a couple. Oh, look at all of them. Oh, wow. On my black Madeira. Look at that. Wow. You little rascals, you. Look at it. I'm scared. Wow, look at that. Okay. Spotted lanternflies. I was saying earlier, I don't know if I completed the thought. Here I've got my air layers that I demonstrated on my video making baby black Madeira trees, and they're doing fine. They'll be fine in another 4 or 5 weeks. 4 weeks more, they should be well rooted. But I'm going to just slip through here. I'm going to pause this. This is going to be part 2 because unfortunately my battery died on the video I just made. So I'll make 1 and 2 so you can see my collection. It's too big really to get on one tape. I've got figs just growing every place, all over the place. And even in the greenhouse there's still a couple. What's that noise? Did you? What?
Is that frog?
It must be that rare frog. I saw a rare frog in the greenhouse a few weeks ago, one I'd never seen before. I just got done picking some of the blueberries. There's too many to pick, and they're delicious. I love blueberries. I love everything organic, and I love everything that I grow in the garden. My tomatoes are doing really well. I've got a lot of peppers now that I'm going to pick right now. These are among my favorites, these Hungarian wax. They're just wonderful if you like pasta. You fry these up with spaghetti and meatballs or anything, really anything. They just go with everything. They're just beautiful. They're beautiful peppers. I love them. And I've got a bunch of them that I need to... What's she doing?
Taking off the
And this is some more basil I have growing that I planted seeds, and I got parsley growing over there, some basil. And tomatoes, again, they're doing really well with super sweet 100 growing in the back, 2 of them. They're just cherry tomatoes, and these are all a different variety. These are mostly Better Boy and Big Boy is what I like to grow. I'll be putting in my late tomatoes very soon. And the squash, this batch of squash is pretty much finished. It produced so many squash, but they have come to the end of their fruition cycle, pretty much. Still get a couple more, but I'll be putting in a new batch. More peppers. Here's some of those cherry tomatoes. They're ripe already. Just small cherry tomatoes, super sweet 100. I highly recommend, if you like tomatoes in your salad, these are so good. And they produce early, you know, and they're just sweet. And I always grow everything that I can organic. So I come right out here and just begin eating them immediately, which I'm going to do right now by just cleaning that one off a little bit. And there it goes. Oh, sweet and delicious. But they're not just sweet, they have a flavor, a really good flavor. And here are my cucumbers. I got a bunch of them on here. And more hanging down there. Hey Deb, did you say you wanted more of this Swiss chard?
What is it?
Did you want more Swiss chard, you said?
Yeah, we have to pick some out.
We got a lot of cucumbers here. Too many.
Yeah. Pick them and put them at the
Yeah, okay.
That one looks like it might have got overgrown.
All right, I'm going to pick some of this Swiss chard, and I'm going to pause this now because we're going to continue that fig tape, or part 2, and go through my fig garden. This is Bethlehem Black. It's a tree that I got from Bass. You may be familiar with him. A very reliable grower that I trust and would certainly recommend. And this tree is loaded with fruit too. It's a very good variety, a variant again of the Mount Etna types, hardy Chicago types. And I'll pause it here because, well, you know what? There's a bunch of varieties here that I could talk to you about, but they're all doing very, very, very well. But wait a minute. I see something I didn't see last night. Filacciano Bianco. Haha. The other Mount Etna, I mean not Mount Etna, the other San Pedro type. Let me get through here a bit. This is long yellow. Ooh, man. Yellow long neck. This is yellow long neck. Let me slip through here. I see they're getting ripe. The San Pedro type that I spoke about in my last video. Oh, here we go. There's a ripe one. I'm going to enjoy this. Let's open it up. This is the only other San Pedro type besides Desert King. Oh, that one's real ripe too. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow. That I recommend that through my own experience, I've grown other types that I obtained from University of Davis. And when we were doing exchanges and things, and they were sending me cuttings and I was sending them information about whether or not the cuttings and the varieties were well adapted in my zone. That was the deal back then. That was over 20 years ago. And I grew a few San Pedro types. And none of them panned out well, but I really didn't press the issue very much. I had so much going on at that time, but I wouldn't recommend the ones I had. I don't even know what they were, to be truthful with you, so long ago. But this one I received from my uncle. I've talked about it before. It's been in the family for well over half a century. And I still grow it. It's in the ground. And I really do recommend this variety. It's a lot like Desert King, if you will. But it is different, for sure. No question about that. And I'm going to take a bite of this one. And I'll save the other half for Debbie. Real different. Definitely a different taste profile. You know what? I just thought of something. I have 2 Desert Kings growing in another nearby garden. Let me just pause this and run over there. They got to be ripe. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to pause this and go over to my Desert Kings, or what I refer to as Dessert Kings, because they are delicious desserts. Okay, now we're visiting my Desert Kings, and yes, oh boy, yes, we have some ripe ones. Oh, look at that one. I thought there would be. This one's very ripe. Let's take that one. And now we can do a comparison. They look similar, as you can see, to the Filacciano Bianco, the other San Pedro type. Keep in mind, there's not very many San Pedro types. They're a very unique fig. I don't know, 10 varieties maybe that I'm aware of. There could be a few more, but not many, considering the fact that there's 1,000 edible varieties of common figs. Oh, that one's nice and ripe too. Look at that. And so is that one. Well, they're very different though in certain characteristics, so they are not the same, period. But look at that. They appear the color is very similar. Well, that's no big deal. Yeah, a little less green maybe. The Desert King. And the Desert Kings, they have an exquisite taste. I'm a big fan, big fan. Oh, I see another really ripe one. Right there. Can you see that? Oh, wow, that one's ready. I'm going to take a taste of that. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good. I'm going to save this other half of the Filacciano for Debbie, Filacciano Bianco. Okay. Well, something made a little hole in that one. But I don't see any of these spotted lanternflies, so we can't blame it on them. But everything else is relatively intact. The birds haven't gotten to my fruit. Here's another tree. Now these I still have growing in my ground bags, using my ground bag method. And I never extracted them last winter. I just let them stay, never covered them. And we've had 2 extraordinarily mild winters. If I don't think I would have gotten away with that. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, because it's a very hardy variety. Very hardy Desert King, extremely. And I got away with it. I didn't extract these ground bags. I just let them grow. They got big holes in them. So the roots, they ventured out into the neighboring ground to seek nutrients. And I can leave them like that forever. And I'm going to. I'm not going to extract them now. The roots are too well established in the surrounding soil. So they get to stay here, these 2 Desert Kings. And you can see why. Because I love my Desert Kings. Because where else can you get such a prolific first crop of delicious figs which taste in every way as good as the best, you know, the 5 or 10 best main crop figs? I mean, they're that good. And comparatively speaking, well, they're right up there with main crop figs, which is an exceptional characteristic to have, since most Breva don't taste that good. All right, I think I'll leave this also for Debbie, the whole thing. And I'm going to come back later and pick a bunch more and devour them. How wonderful. This one's really, really ripe. Wow. Okay,